Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday, late afternoon, April the 18th, 2021. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. This will be my weekly update that I will be putting on YouTube. We're going to go over methane and sea ice and a couple of other things, Climate Reanalyzer, and I've got the article that I was going to share with you last week. We're going to go over that today. And so I hope everyone is doing well and they're safe and doing as well as possible. We made it through another week. It's just a miracle to me every time when we get to another week. And it just seems to me like the days are going faster, and things are happening so fast. It's hard to keep up. You just have to pull back and, just kind of tune out for a while sometimes. So we're going to start with the NOAA methane data. This is for yesterday, the 17th, for the 477/469 millibar reading. This is the Met-1 satellite in the morning. The mean or average was 1906 parts per billion. The high reading was 2358. In the afternoon, the mean was 1907. The high reading was 2399. On the Met-2 satellite in the morning, the mean was 1887. The high reading was 2311. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1885, and the high reading was 2439. Here's the spreadsheet and chart that we've been looking at. And here's the data for the 17th, and it averages out to 1896.25 parts per billion. That's showing an increase over the week before of 1.25. So here it's reflected on the chart. We're still going up, and so now we're above 1895, and this is about the where we were at the end of August last year. And so we're starting out, going into this melt season, the ice melt season, with the methane really high at the levels at the end of the summer last year. So if we look back up here, August the 15th was 1895.75. August the 22nd was 1897.5. So around mid-August are the same levels as where we are right now. And this time last year, a year ago, on the 17th, we were 18.50 parts per billion lower. So that's how much higher we are this year. And since I've started charting this, since March the 1st of 2019, we've gone up 39 parts per billion. So that's, we're out of range, we're in no man's land. And so anyway, let's look at what happened to methane this week. So last week, here we were at 1895, and we had gone up last week 0.5. And so here's what happened this week. So on the 11th, it went down half a part per billion. On the 12th, we went up 1.25. On the 13th, we saw a spike of, we went up 2.5, and we actually saw a spike on the mean on the Met-1 satellite in the morning. The mean hopped up to 1913, and we haven't seen it that high since last year. And then on the 14th it went down 1.25. On the 15th there was no change. On the 16th it went down 0.5, and then here we are on the 17th it went down 0.25. So you know, it's a stair step, and but we're on the upward trend, it looks like. And this time last year, we can look. I started tracking this on a daily basis in February of last year, so I have all my daily readings right here. And if we want to look at the actual pictures, you know, the GIFs, I've got those saved too. So this time last year, like on the week from the 11th to the 18th, it went down 4 parts per billion last year. That was in April. And then the next week it went down 3.75. So it had gone up earlier in the year, and then April was backtracking. Looks like it had gone up on the 4th. It had gone up 1. Now see, that week ending March 28th, it had gone up 4.75 that week. And then it had gone up 1 on the week of the 4th, and then it started going down, and it went down 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, and then no change. And then it went back up the week of May the 16th. And then it went down, and then in June it started going up in earnest for the summer. And now here we are. And like I said, we're really in no man's land, and I don't know of anyone else who's charting this on a daily basis like this. And you know, if you want to see reports during the week, I've got a link to my Subscribestar page at the bottom if you'd like to go over there. And I usually do reporting every day. Sometimes I'll miss a day, like if we don't have any CAMS data, or any new CAMS data, or if I'm not feeling well, I might do a little silent movie and just show the CAMS methane for that day, and then I'll backtrack and get caught up with the NOAA methane data the next day. But you know, I'm keeping people informed on a nearly daily basis, and so we'd love to have you over there. Now we'll look at CAMS. This is the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services website. They're out of the EU, and the latest data is from Friday the 16th, so they haven't gotten Saturday up or Sunday. Sometimes they do that. They'll get behind on putting the data up, and then they'll start releasing it, you know, 2 or 3 days in one day. So far I've been able to keep up with recording it. So here we are on the 16th. I have the Arctic view and surface level ready to go. There's our color ledger at the bottom. So the data is for Friday, and the forecast period is Saturday through Tuesday. So on this Arctic view, here's Greenland, here's Canada, Alaska. This is all Russia over on the right. And here's Novaya Zemlya. Here's Norway. Iceland is down here. Here's Svalbard. This is Franz Josef Land. This is Severnaya Zemlya. This little island at the bottom of that group is called Komsomolets. We've been seeing this methane billowing up here around Komsomolets since January of last year. And no one's really been reporting on it except for me. And I'm thinking that this is part of the protected territory by Russian military since Novaya Zemlya. They run nuclear tests there. They're still running them, in fact, underground. I saw an article saying they're still running them on the island underground. And they do military drills up here around Franz Josef Land. And this Kara Sea is the most radioactive sea on the planet because of the nuclear testing that was done during the Cold War in this whole area. So, and there's all kinds of nuclear waste that was dumped, and reactor cores and nuclear submarines that have sunk, and I don't even think they know exactly how many are down there, but supposedly Russia is going to be cleaning up this area because of the North Passage opening up for commerce. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, we're still seeing lots of methane come up around Komsomolets, and this is in North Kara Sea. See it swooping down there. And we had been seeing a yellow plume coming up here on this East Siberia side. I'm not seeing it right now, but earlier in the week we were seeing a yellow cloud about like that coming up. We're still seeing high releases on this north coast of Alaska near Koktovik. I don't know if that's from oil drilling or what. We're also seeing higher readings down here in the UK, and seeing this North Sea is coming up there next to Norway. But the overall background color has gone down. It's now mainly greens. And remember earlier this year we were seeing Russia with a lot of reds and yellows. But it'll come back, and the methane is just, it's shifting around. Now we've got this area at North Dakota that keeps billowing. There's a lignite coal mine there that I think is the source of that. Now we'll look at the North Pole view. So we see it filling up here in the UK. It's pretty black. Europe is filling back up. See, we're seeing the red come up here in the North Sea, and see the waves of green moving off of and onto Spain and Europe, and they just kind of go back and forth. Here's the Persian Gulf. Here's India. It's not as filled up with the dark. Like I said, it's redistributing, I think. Rearranging. Now look at that wave move off of China there. See the arm. Here's Korea. Here's Japan. See that wave move out. See, we see the waves of green moving out. Now here in North America, from Texas over east, we've got some very high readings, and it's been raining. You know, they've been having those storms come across, and any time they get rain, we get lots of lines of heavy methane. But also this East Coast, it's heavy, densely populated, and anywhere you see dense populations, you're going to see high methane too. Also California got a lot. I'd like to thank everyone for your prayers and well wishes. I was not doing very well last weekend. I had gotten very sick from dropping a package off at FedEx, and the cleaning fumes that were in the air just put me over the edge. I wasn't in there more than 5 minutes. I was there on Friday a week ago, and I don't know what date that is. It was on the 9th, and just dropping off a package, and I didn't touch anything, and I was so sick, and you can still hear I'm still kind of not quite 100%, but I'm very sensitive. It's called multiple chemical sensitivity. It's in addition to my allergies, so I'm like the canary in the coal mine, and you know, fragrances, but I really started getting worse once they started with the heavy duty cleaning. There's a bunch of toxic stuff in the cleaning supplies that they're using, and I can't go shopping anymore. I can't go to the grocery store. I can't go anywhere because they're all using it, and I didn't realize. And I'd been in that FedEx, you know, several times before, but this was the first time since they changed everything. You know, it'd been, I don't know, a year and a half since I'd been in, but there you go. You never know. But I'm better, and you know, it's just this world. It's all coming apart, and we're all suffering from the effects of what's going on that are not natural, and you know, part of it is from the climate, but a lot of it is the toxins, and then we've got the electromagnetic pollution, and you know, it's a whole thing, and you can't get away from it. There's nowhere to go. You just can't get away from it, and you know, this is what we're in now. It's this prison that I mean, it feels like a prison to me. And anyway, I didn't mean to get off on all that. I just wanted to explain to everyone what my situation was last weekend, and so I'm doing better. I'm going to try and do full report today. So we see methane stream off of South America here. It's also coming up on this western peninsula by the Larsen Sea ice shelf here in the Antarctic. We're seeing more blues come up now in the southern hemisphere, and that's higher reading. You'll see that as methane keeps creeping up. Now we'll look at 500 HPA. This is about halfway up in the atmosphere. That's about the same level as what we're looking at on the NOAA data. So here we have it from Friday. You can see highest readings down here in southern China and Asia, and then up here see the dark reds going all the way up into Russia, and kind of broken up from the reds to the oranges, but we're seeing the greens come further south now. And we'll see as we get further into the spring and summer, we'll see greens come all the way down to the bottom here. Now here's total column. This is all the methane added up through the layers, so we can see it's highest from China, then down into southern Asia, and then India too. And we've got Brazil, see, has some red, and we've got some reddish orange, and we've had some pretty high readings over in the interior of South America, but you can see this cloud, it's moving out across the Pacific. Now, while we're here on cams, we had another ozone hole open up. What day was it? I can't remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday. We'll go down to the Antarctic view here, and the sun is going down there. Let's see. Okay, was it Wednesday? It must have been on Thursday. Okay, watch right here. You see the aqua? This is just south of the Ross Sea. Now watch. Okay, so it was on Friday that it opened up. So that was the forecast there. Let's go to Friday. Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what day it was. So at the beginning of Friday, we're seeing the aqua, which is still thin. It's 220 to 240 Dobson units. and average is 300, that solid yellow, so we don't have a lot of that. It's mainly below average. And then when we run it, see, it pops up. See that? So that's not good, and that's just at the end of their summer, you know, and going into their fall. That's so the thinning. See. So we're probably going to see another huge hole over the interior here during their winter this year. So where it goes into the purple with the big thick line around it, that's the danger zone. See? That color is 200 Dobson, 200 to 220 Dobson units, and they put a thick black line around it, so that's the danger zone. You don't want that. And then I think it was closed back up by Saturday. It was in the process of closing up, but see, the aqua spread out there. So see, it closed back up right there. And here it is today. So we've got aqua and greens. All of that is below average. So we've got big problems with the ozone. So there's that. And I also wanted to show real quick before we get to sea ice. I've been tracking the sulfur dioxide from that volcano, St. Vincent. It's I'm not sure of the pronunciation of the volcano. I've been calling it La Soufrière. But anyway, see all this sulfur dioxide? This is from today. It's still erupting there, and see how it's gone across the Atlantic and gone all the way to India, all the way across Africa. It's split off over North Africa, gone up across the Mediterranean, and then another one straight across. So it's stayed really strong too. Here it is at 500 HPA, so it's still quite heavy, especially, see, over Saudi Arabia. So I've been tracking that too. Now let's move on to the next part of the show, and we'll look at sea ice. Now this is from Climate Reanalyzer. This is from today. This is the sea ice and snow cover in the Arctic. And we'll go over 2 weeks since I didn't show it last week. I've got pictures for you for 2 weeks here. So the last time we looked at it was on Sunday the 4th. So we'll just click through and see what we can see. And it's kind of hard to tell. There's not much of a change on the extent. It went down and now it's come back a tiny bit this week, but it's thinning, it's melting, and things are breaking up. So it could be, as it's breaking up and spreading out, it looks like it's growing in extent, but it's really just breaking apart. but some of it might be refreeze, so we'll see. Here we go. Here was the 4th. Here's the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Now you can see a big decrease there on the 10th. You can see it was melting right around Novaya Zemlya there and Svalbard. Another big retreat here on the 11th. See this hole that opened up by Franz Josef Land. Here's the 12th, 13th. See, and there's like almost nothing here by Novaya Zemlya. 14th, 15th. Now we're starting to see it come back a little bit here. 16th, 17th. See, it's coming out. 18th. See, and here we are today. So we're not in heavy melt season yet, but it's coming. And with the methane so close to the surface, you know, we could have blowout any time. So we're done with that. Now we'll look at the pictures from the Navy. This is the Navy military website. This is sea ice thickness for the Arctic for today. Today is the 18th. So let's zoom in so that we can get a better view of this. So the dark purple is about 1 meter thick. The aqua is about this bright aqua is about 2 meters thick. The green is about 3 meters thick. Then the dark reddish red going into what looks like brownish, reddish brownish black is about 5 meters thick. So we're not seeing very much thick sea ice at all. It's mainly 2 meters or under. So, and I've named these quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can see over here in quadrant 2, this will be going first. And this is where the Atlantic Ocean comes in to the Barents Sea. It's been, the whole ecosystem has been changing over the last decades because the Atlantic Ocean has been encroaching up here, and so we get very little ice up here anymore in the winter time, and what ice they do get is quite thin. You can see it's just a little fringe of ice there. And see, this hole had opened up around Franz Josef Land. The coastlines are opening up. We can see the light, or the white. White is no ice, or moving into no ice. It's just a little skim. And then the lavender is quite thin. And here on the coastline on the Laptev Sea, see that's opening up. Now here around New Siberian Islands, see we've got a hole opening up there. We've got some thicker ice on this Siberia coastline here and down here by the Bering Strait on the Russia side. Then on the Alaska side it's thinning. And then here in the Bering Sea, this is the area where the oldest sea ice has been migrating to over the winter, and it's kind of thickening up a little bit still. And then along this Canadian coastline. And then here's Greenland, and we can see it's opened up on this northwest edge of Greenland, and then the nearest strait is thinning out. Here's the Baffin Bay, and it's about done with the refreeze. I think it's starting, this area is starting to melt. The sea ice, the ocean temperature is warming up as it's moving in up here. We can also see in the Hudson Bay, it's coming away from this coastline on the east side, and we've got changes going on here in the Hudson Bay, so that's starting to melt as well. So that's where we're at today. There's this looks like a thinning taking place in quadrant 1, not too far from the North Pole. North Pole is right here in the center. So now we'll look at the 30-day animation. So the forecast goes back 3 weeks, and then the data goes back 3 weeks, and the forecast goes out to the 24th. So they're not quite out a week from now. So here we go. Let's watch this. So we can see what it's done in the last 3 weeks and what it's going to do in this next week. So we've seen a lot of initial, see the movement back and forth, kind of clearing out, and then a little bit of refreeze, it looks like. Then down here, the Baffin Bay. And we can see in the forecast period, see this little skim along this Canadian coastline that's retreating there. And we can see in the forecast also in the Hudson Bay, it's really starting to thin out. And it's coming away from the coastline on the west side. And up here, Russia, and this is considered part of the Arctic sea ice from Kamchatka over. This is the Sea of Okhotsk. See, we can see, especially in the forecast period, that's thinning out. And then here in the Bering Sea, in the forecast period, it's thinning out. So it looks like things will really start picking up in the next week or so as far as changes. And we can see the thickening that's happened from, see, it was dark aqua and moving more into a lighter aqua, and then more green coming in here in the Beaufort Sea. But it's still, you know, to have it mainly 2 meters thick at the beginning of the melt season is not very good. We're in bad shape. Here's the Beaufort view of the sea ice thickness. So Alaska is down here, Canada's over here on the right. Here's the green, where's the thickest. And so the ice has been migrating down towards Alaska during the winter, and it's been kind of compressing and pushing down into this Beaufort Sea. So the thickest ice is right here, just a little skim along this Canadian coastline, and right in here, see, up to the 5 meters thick. So not much at all. And then we've got a little bit of red down here on the Alaska coastline. So here's the animation on this one. So it looks like the ice drift is moving it back in, and see, and then it kind of consolidates here in this Beaufort Sea, compresses. So there's that. Here's the Baffin Bay. Now the Navy just added this model in February of this year. Now the thickness here, the dark reddish black, is only 2 meters thick rather than 5 meters thick, so this is a whole different scale. And the aqua is only 0.8 meters thick, and when you go into the green, that's just over 1 meter thick. So it's a whole different scale here. So Greenland is on this right side. This is Canada. This is about halfway up in the Baffin Bay. So we can see in the forecast period it's really thinning out down here on this southwest side. Here's the sea surface temperature for the Baffin Bay, and so we can see that it's getting warmer. We're getting more reds, and this darkest color, the reddish brown black, is 4C. So that's why you're seeing the ice will be melting with the warmer water moving in. There's a 30-day animation. Now, this is all I'm really going to cover on the Antarctic, since we're not able to see much down there on NASA Worldview with it so dark. But here's sea ice thickness for today, and so you can see where it's come back. This Ross Sea is filled up, the Weddell Sea is filling back out, and around this west side, and then it's still quite thin on the north. I mean, it doesn't go out very far. And then on this east side as well. Yeah, it's not very thick, and we'll see how thick it gets this year. So here it is in the forecast period. And when you see it stop on the 16th, that means this model was run on the 16th, but it actually goes out to the 24th. So you want to be looking at the numbers up here. That's what it's effective for. So there's all those. Now we're going to look at sea ice and snow cover. This is from, Sea Ice Index, National Snow and Ice Data Center. Here's the Arctic. This is concentration. So where the blues are, that's where it's less concentrated. So that's where you can see a lot of the changes going on. Here's sea ice extent, and this blue line is this year. We're still way below 2012, that winter of 2012 into 2013, and we had been going down, down, down. Now we peaked back here in March, and then this week it looks like it's gone. Looks like it's just gone up just a little tiny bit. See, not much. But this dotted line is 2012. This other area, the gray area, is 1981 to 2010 average. So this is where it was on the 17th. Now we'll look at the Antarctic. Concentration. So we can see a lot of blues, meaning it's just coming back. It's not very concentrated. Here's sea ice extent, and this blue line is this year. This dark grayish green line is last year, and then this gray line and the band of gray, that's the average from 1981 to 2010. That's the mean or average, and so we started out on the refreeze a little bit earlier than traditionally, but it looks like it's kind of settling down, and you know, it's following along kind of parallel, but it's not going up dramatically. So I'm thinking it's going to kind of settle out along the average line, or maybe even with last year. So there's that. Now let's take a peek at Climate Reanalyzer. And I know this is going to be a super long show, so you know, feel free to take a break, put it on pause, come back to it. But we're getting a good view of what's going on with the planet here. Here's 2-meter temperatures maximum for today. So we've got warm air on this west side of the Arctic over the Bering Strait and the Chukchi Sea. And if we look at 2-meter temperature anomalies, see we've got a huge red area, and so that's about 18 to 20 C higher than normal when it's red like that. And then we've got brown, and then we've got reddish brown up here by Svalbard. So across most of the Arctic Ocean, it's really up there. And then we've got blues right next to it. See, blues and purples, so cold, are right next to it. And also up here in Russia. So the Arctic today is up 3°C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.7°C, Worldwide, we're up 0.2 C. The tropics are up 0.1 C. Southern hemisphere is down 0.4 C, lower than normal, and the Antarctic is down 3.5 C, lower than normal. So we've got blues and purples in the Antarctic, a little bit of brown here. So the big area that we're talking about is this reddish area just north of Alaska, going all the way over to Canada, and then west over, see, to Russia. So that could set off a melt, high melt, pretty fast with it like that, with the warm air up there. Here's precipitation and clouds today. We can see rain coming in on this over the North Atlantic, just north of Iceland, coming up towards Svalbard. And it looks like a little bit of rain to the east of Svalbard here in the Barents Sea, and then snow on up there. So here's the global view. Now we've got rain coming pretty far south, almost to this western peninsula in the Antarctic. So that's not going to do well with the ice that's trying to refreeze. Here's the jet stream. See these holes here? This is where the cold air is moving out. It's escaping from the Arctic. Here we are in the flat view. So we've got, holes in the jet stream in the southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, and there's really there's no rhyme or reason to it, and it's very chaotic, and it looks worse every time I look at it, and this is why we're having such climate chaos that we're having. We already saw sea ice and snow cover for today. Now here's 2 meter sea surface temperature anomaly. This is as of Saturday. We can see it's getting warmer up here in this North Atlantic, and look here in the Baffin Bay, it's moving into the pink zone, which is up to 6C, higher than normal. See, and also in this North Atlantic, it's getting warmer up there. Also the Gulf of Mexico, see, is turning brown, and here in the Gulf of California it's brown. And we still have blue and kind of purplish off the west coast of South America. And we've got a red blob in the Pacific, just east of Japan. So Northern Hemisphere and North Atlantic are both 0.5 C higher than normal, so that's gone up. The North Pacific is 0.4 C higher than normal. Worldwide and Southern Hemisphere is 0.3 C higher than normal. And Equatorial Pacific is in balance. It's equaled out. Let's see, look at these reds down here in the Southern Hemisphere. See, south of Africa, and look on this west coast of Africa too. There's that. Now, the next thing I want to go over before we move to NASA Worldview, there was an article that I did post on my community page, and I've archived it here on my Subscribestar archives. After my posts had been up for a week for my subscribers on Subscribestar, then I post them over here as an archive so that we can look back through what was going on at the time. So this is from Carbon Brief, a paper called Piecing Together the Arctic Sea Ice History Back to 1850. And I say, even though this article is from 2016, it gives us additional information about Arctic sea ice back to 1850. Here are the key points. And this is what they came away with. And so remember, this paper was in 2016. Their data was to, I think it was 2012. So remember, everything that they wrote about, it's just been getting worse since then. So number one, there's no point in the past 150 years where sea ice extent is as small as it has been in recent years. Meaning the extent's just is just getting smaller and smaller. 2. The rate of sea ice retreat in recent years is also unprecedented in the historical record, meaning it's melting faster during the melt season. 3. The natural fluctuations in sea ice over multiple decades are generally smaller than the year-to-year variability. So, meaning it changes more from year to year than when you're just looking at it from one decade to the next. Now, here's the picture that I posted. Now, this is from the article. And the article was very interesting. I encourage you to look at it. They got data from lots of different sources, but this was a map. This is from Denmark, the Danish Meteorological Society, and I think. And this was the state of the ice in the Arctic seas in 1926, and this was August. And they have a ledger over here for the different kinds of ice, whether it was packed together real tight or kind of loose, or things like that. So this was August, and so what we see is, look how far out the sea ice comes, and it's melting around the coastlines just a little bit. See, just a little bit around the coastlines, but this is August after it's been melting all summer, and see, they still have ice in the Kara Sea. Not much in the Barents Sea, and then see the red dots, that's where it's melting in August. And this is kind of like what it looks like right now at the beginning of the melt season. See, here's the Fram Strait, and see, they had ice, a little bit of ice over here in the Baffin Bay, and see, they still had ice in the Baffin Bay here in August. We don't have ice in the Baffin Bay by August anymore, and see it was melting up here in the nearest strait. But look at that. So literally you could walk almost from coast to coast on the ice, even in the middle of summer, even at the end of the summer. So now the Bering Strait was open by August, but see, it's iced up here. So what a difference. What a difference, isn't it? Now, this is also from the paper. This, so here's, I can blow this up. From 1850 to 1900, this is, these are the minimums. And so see, it was melting by the to 1900, melting around the edges in the minimum. And from 1901 to 1950, so you can see it's coming in a little bit more. And 1951 to 2000, now see, it's really opened up here. The big difference is this Barents Sea, the Kara Sea, Laptev Sea. See how it's opened up, and then 2000 to 2013. So, but this was the winter of the summer of 2012. So into the winter of 2013. So this was the extent on 2012, and we got very low last year. They say we didn't hit 2012, but I think we did. So see how much it's changed on the minimums too. And this is from September 15th of 2020. So this was last summer. This was at the lowest, at the minimum, and this is what it looked like. So quite a change, huh? Quite a change from that to that. Not 100 years. So from 1926 to 2020. There you go. So here's the article. If people want to look at it, I will leave the link below. And they have a lot of... okay, so they went up to 2015 with data. They digitized all the data and tells the different sources and different... It went into a whole history of it, and they have pictures like from the whaling boats. And then here's the map. Danish Meteorological Institute. That's where that came from. So, considering, you know, I just think it's amazing that we're still here. It's just considering how much things have changed. I'll refresh this. And it's just, I just think it's amazing that we're still here and functioning. But I do think time is short. Now we'll go over NASA Worldview. First we'll look at, this is sea ice concentration. So we can see where it's melting, where it's coming apart. See down here in the Hudson Bay, up here by Greenland in the Baffin Bay. And now this had opened up by Franz Josef Land, but we had a little refreeze, and then we had a little bit of refreeze back here in the Barents Sea and around Novaya Zemlya. This had opened up, but this kind of filled back in this week. Here it's opening up on this Russia coastline. Then here's the Bering Strait here. And then up here in the Sea of Okhotsk, you can see a lot of melting going on up there. And we're getting into more pinks rather than just solid white. Now, let's see what we can see here. So, let's start down here at Greenland, I guess. Now we're looking through some clouds here, so here's on this northwest edge. This is the nearest strait. It's under cloud cover right now, but you can see how it's opened up here. Here you can see the melting. And then here, see, there's a lot of melt going on, even though they said the extent filled out a little bit. Here at the southern point of Greenland, let's see, this is melting now. Here's this storm coming up. Here's Svalbard. Let's look over at Greenland. Now, we've had some better days for looking at the ice this week. We'll just go back to yesterday. Look at this. Here's the ice. Here's Greenland, and here it is. You can see these leads here. See, they're opening up. See, that's opened up. See, there's some open water already there, because here's Franz Josef Land. This had opened up. This is a tiny bit of refreeze here. See, it's opened up on this right side. Here's Novaya Zemlya, as we can see this east side that's opened up. Little bit of refreeze there. Just a skim. It's not very thick at all. A polar bear could not walk out on it. Here's the Yamal Peninsula. Now we can see it's opened up around a lot of this coastline. See? Now, this is Comsolomon's Island, so it's right around here. It's where we were seeing that dark color methane billowing up on cams. It's been coming up since January of last year, right around here. So this is opened up right here. Now this is the Laptev Sea. See how it's already broken up? Look at this. And there's a little lip of ice along the coastline, and then there's a break where the where the sea ice has come away. Now there's a huge crack. You see this all the way across. We were seeing on cams a line of methane coming up right along this line. That was, can't remember, I think it was last week, maybe week before. But that's, see, that's open water. See, so that's coming apart. Here's the Bering Strait. See, here's open water there, and then Alaska over here. So this is the area where the thickest sea ice is, right in here. And we can see where it's coming apart by the coast, see? The ice drift pulls it away from the coast first, and then these leads start breaking up. Let's see what it looks like today. Let's look over here. Okay, we can see it's come apart a little bit more even. You can see that open water there. There's Barrow. So this is, we're seeing the thickest sea ice now, and here are the leads. See, it's coming apart. Now we're looking at clouds, and here's Ellesmere Island here, and we're back to where we started from. So that's what we've got on the sea ice. Now I'd like to go over some earthquakes. We've had some high activity. I took these pictures this morning. There were 246 worldwide, but yesterday there were over 300, and Hawaii had really been swarming. Now we've got an Arctic earthquake here next to Iceland, right on the red line. Then we've got two down here at the South Shetland Islands, on this western, right at the end of the western peninsula in the Antarctic. Look at all of these big dots. A lot of plate movement. We've had some earthquakes in Iran that were about 60 miles from a nuclear power plant. The articles I read said that there was no damage to the power plant. Here in the lower 48, we had 97 today. Southern California is showing 28. Searles Valley Ridgecrest is showing 12. Western Nevada over to Mammoth Lakes is showing 8. the largest one being a 2.9 at Mena, Nevada. This cluster is at the geysers, and then we're going down looking at the San Francisco area. We've got 32 total here. Northern California is showing 4 today. The largest one is this 3.0 near Covello. We've got one just north of Mount Shasta, and so 1.1 at Laytonville, 1.4 Redwood Valley, and 1.0 at Tennant, California. Here's Pacific Northwest over to Yellowstone, only 4, and there's nothing showing up in Washington or Oregon today, so not much movement here today. Here's one in New Mexico near Socorro, a 2.1. This is kind of an unusual place to see him. West Texas had 3, 3.2, 3.1, and 2.6, all in the same place, just south of Guadalupe Peak. Oklahoma is only showing 1.7. And then we've got 2 in this picture. We've got a 1.6 near Tiptonville, Tennessee, and then in eastern Georgia, a 2.3 near Washington, Georgia. This is almost next to South Carolina, almost on the Georgia-South Carolina line. Here is that 4.9 south of Iceland. See, it's right on that red line in the ocean. Puerto Rico is only showing 6 today. Now South America, we've got 5 in this picture, and they're all in this elbow region. 4s ranges. Here are these 2 in the South Shetland Islands, a 5.1 and a 5.0. Hawaii showing 24 today. So yesterday Mauna Loa was going crazy, swarming. They had like 63 swarming, but that's calmed back down. Alaska has picked up. We're showing 86 today. Here in the South Pacific, from New Zealand up to this Tonga area, we've got 5. We've got a 4.8 at Tonga, 4.9 just off the coast of Gisborne, New Zealand, 4.7 Isengel, Vanuatu, 104 kilometers deep, 4.5 south of the Fiji Islands, 574 kilometers deep, and 5.2 is the largest one near the Kermadec Islands. We've got 4 in this picture, 4.6 Ambunti, Papua New Guinea, 4.7 Ternate, Indonesia, and then 2 near Hualien City, Taiwan, a 5.4 and a 5.8 came in right about the same place. They were only 3 minutes apart. And then this is North Japan up into Russian area, Russian territory. We've got 4 in this picture. We've got a 5.6, 2 5.6s off the coast of Japan. this north coast of Japan near Honshu and Ishinomaki. We've got a 4.5 Kuril Islands and a 4.2 Timovskoy, Russia, right there. That's on a tectonic plate line. And we had a 5.2 on land at Hakka, Myanmar, next to India. We had a 4.7 in the Gulf of Aden near Somalia, right on the red line. Here are these earthquakes in Iran. They were kind of in the same area, 5.8, 4.4, and a 4.4, all at Bandar a Janave, Iran. This is just next to the Persian Gulf. Then, on the east coast of the Black Sea, there was a 4.1 near Poti, Georgia, and then we got 3 near Mandraki, Greece, 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. I think that's it. It's a lot of movement, a lot of plate movement there, kind of spread out. Now here's the USGS website. Let's see if there's, okay, we've got a new one down here in Mexico, looks like 4.4 near Teltepec, Mexico. We've got a new one in Canada, 2.1 near Oromocto, Canada. This came in last night, almost at midnight, 23:59 midnight. Here's a new, oh, we saw that. Here's a new one in Texas. Snyder, 3.1 at Snyder, Texas. And see, we're still seeing activity all along this west coast of California, along that San Andreas fault line. We've got 28 now in Southern California. We've got 13 Searles Valley Ridgecrest. Look at the 4 just now, 4 new ones. The red ones are the new ones. We've got some new activity up in the Pacific Northwest, a 1.1 at Joint Base McCord, Washington, and a 2.3 near Jamestown, Washington, right there in that Strait of Juan de Fuca. So things are rocking. Let's look at Hawaii. See what they're doing. 25. So they're kind of spread out. Look, Kilauea. We've got them. This is right in the crater. We've got 7 right in the crater there. 2's and under. So that's my report for today. And I'm going to finish up by reading out of the Bible. I like to kind of get things on a spiritual note to finish up, and I do believe we are in the end times. And this is one of the main reasons that I'm keep doing this reporting day in, day out, and documenting things that I see and things that are happening. And I finished up Acts last week, and now we're on Romans, and these are letters that Paul wrote to the Romans. Romans chapter 2. Therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself. For thou that judgest doest the same things. But we are sure that the judgment of God is according to truth against them which commit such things. And thinkest thou this, O man, that judgest them which do such things, and doest the same, that thou shalt escape the judgment of God? Or despisest thou the riches of his goodness and forbearance and longsuffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leadeth thee to repentance? But after thy hardness and impenitent heart treasurest up unto thyself wrath against the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of God, who will render to every man according to his deeds. To them who by patient countenance in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jew first, and also of the Gentile. But glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile. For there is no respect of persons with God. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these, having not the law, or law unto themselves, which shew the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. In the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. Behold, thou art called a Jew, and resteth in the law, and makest thy boast of God, and knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and art confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which hast the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, dost thou steal? Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law dishonourest thou God? For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written, For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, should not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter in circumcision dost transgress the law? For he is not a Jew which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God. Romans chapter 2. So I hope everyone has a good week. I'll be praying for all of you, and I look forward to sharing with you next week. So I'll be praying for everyone. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I recommend you do it now. So I love you all. God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.